Now, Meghan McCain, who recently departed as a co-host of ABC's The View, is speaking out, ready to tell her story, to speak candidly and reveal what went on behind the scenes and explaining why she left and previewing what's ahead. She is now releasing a new audiobook memoir, and it's called Bad Republican. You might remember these moments from The View where her co-host, frankly, I can't put it any other way, was just downright cruel and mean. Take a look.
The idea that there isn't fighting within the Democratic Party as well. I know what you're saying.
Right. I'm talking about
somebody else. Yeah. You missed me so much when I was on maternity leave. You missed me so much. You missed fighting with me. Don't act like you missed fighting with me.
I did not miss you.
Okay, somebody answer the question.
Can I weigh in?
Or I'm
you know what? That's
moving
so nasty.
on.
I'd like to weigh in.
Yeah.
So nasty.
Can I weigh in?
Okay, guys,
rude. Like,
hold
really?
on. Stop. Everybody stop. Everybody stop.
That's so rude. My job here is not to litigate the ethics of it. I'm an ABC political analyst along with being a View co-host. My job is to analyze the politics of it. And I'm telling you the politics of this. But I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people that are the senators that are in the Senate, the Republican Senate.
Here's what's happening now. We're gonna keep. Girl, please stop talking. Please stop talking right now. Because you know what? What's happening? Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
I won't talk the rest of the show. No problem.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. If you're going to behave like this,
I'm not behaving like anything. I'm trying to show a conservative perspective.
Yes, we understand that.
Talk,
but you are. But what you're doing.
No, I'm not.
We're not doing anything. How about this? Former FBI. We'll be right back.
Here to explain, author of the new audio memoir, Bad Republican, Meghan McCain. I'm just traumatized looking at it. Man, that's brutal. Tell us about it.
I mean, those are two of the moments in my new Audible memoir that I speak about. The last moment was actually my second day back from maternity leave, and I had very severe postpartum anxiety, and that moment triggered a panic attack backstage. I vomited in my office. It was horrible. I started crying between commercial breaks, and it was the moment that I just thought that my 4 years in an anthropological experiment in left-wing media had come to an end, because I really enjoyed my 4 years at The View in the sense that I found it a great challenge. It's a huge platform. People watch it. It's the #1 show in daytime. But you are targeted if you're the token conservative, and you are treated differently. And it's been interesting having my book excerpt released today, because people just really don't seem to be surprised at all. But there is validation in hearing it from my mouth. And I felt like it was really time for me to show my story instead of having it through the lens of the liberal media and the liberal people who were leaking from internally on the show I worked on. And I felt like it was important for mothers to hear that it's okay. You don't have to put yourself or your pregnancies in a position where you could possibly have your health or your mental health put in a position of toxicity. And I decided to leave after I became a mother, and that was ultimately the game-changing moment for me.
Meghan, you even went as far as to say you felt like you'd been slapped, and you called the work environment, toxic, direct, and purposeful hostility. And none of that looked fun to me. And I can say, in complete honesty, I've had minor little skirmishes here and there with a few on-air talent, but nothing like this at all, ever, not even close. I mean, this is like a cancerous environment.
Yeah, and it's all very personal. That's the thing, is that being a conservative woman in mainstream media is deeply threatening. Being a woman who can hold her own on a show like that proved to be ultimately threatening. So it became more and more personal the stronger the show got. That was the ironic part of it, is the better the show did. After we won an Emmy, we were on the cover of the New York Times Magazine as the most important political show in America. I felt like the toxicity got worse and worse. I actually felt like the more successful I was on The View and the more moments I helped get them and the more I pressed liberal candidates and liberal guests on the show, the worse it got for me backstage. And then ultimately it started spilling out on air. Look, I worked at Fox News before I went to The View, and I probably would not have survived emotionally the past, 5 years of my life between my dad's passing and cancer and everything that I speak about in my memoir happening at The View and other things in my personal life. If it weren't for the women that I met at Fox News, Janice Dean, Kennedy, Dagan, Kat Timpf, there's actually an entire chapter about Kat Timpf and how she helped me through grief. I had a sisterhood at Fox that I lost at The View, and I know what women supporting women looks like because I had it when I worked at Fox News, and now I know what the entire opposite experience is. And it's been difficult to open up to people like you, Sean, but I felt like it was important to say that there is real trauma that is involved when you are targeted and targeted and targeted for not voting for President Obama, for being a pro-life woman. And I don't think that people who go into liberal spaces, which is basically every other space except Fox News and media, I don't think you should be punished for it, and I don't think your personal life should be impacted. And that's unfortunately exactly what happened to me.
Why do you tell the story that your dad encouraged you to take the job? Why?
He loved the show. It's a mainstream show, and I do think it's important that we have to fight the culture war in their spaces because, quite frankly, I think we're losing it. And he thought that they needed a strong conservative. There had been a whole host of Republican and so-called Republican women who claim to be Republican but are not, in my opinion, who had co-hosted the show and failed. And he thought I was up for the job, and I did anything he told me to do. So I did it, and I actually really enjoyed the first year and a half of the show. But like I said, as I grew stronger and more people would come on the show and I would really hold liberal guests' feet to the fire, I felt a lot of backlash both internally and externally at the show. But this shouldn't become as a surprise to you. I mean, you've seen the show. I think anyone who has watched even a clip of us fighting should not be surprised by anything I'm saying.
I remember the last time I did the show. The last time I did the show, I was sitting next to Rosie O'Donnell, and it became a screaming match. And Barbara Walters couldn't stop it, and it just we'll go to break now. And I was like, why am I wasting my time, in the middle of this? Because I don't go to bed till 4 a.m. anyway. There were a lot of issues, and I did support your dad, as you know, in 2008. And I also had political disagreements with your dad, very strong ones, especially on the health care vote. I was pretty unhappy with it. Your dad was a guy that was willing to have a lot of conflicts with people, and that happened after his funeral, too, when campaign managers and even Governor Palin, apparently in this leaked list, weren't invited to the funeral. Why did that all happen?
Yeah, I actually have a chapter about this in my book where I have a whole new lens of viewing how Sarah Palin was treated and how the people working for my father's campaign really, in my opinion, treated her really horribly, set her up for failure. I think when you're seeing Katie Couric talking about how Ruth Bader Ginsburg is someone she helped look good, I thought, well, obviously, with her book, and I thought that obviously she probably put Sarah Palin in a position to look bad. And by the way, Nicolle Wallace was the person who facilitated that interview, who now has a show on MSNBC. And as I've gotten older, look, I fell in love with a really deeply conservative man who runs the Federalist. I have gotten older. It's like the old adage, if you're not liberal when you're young, you don't have a heart. If you're not conservative when you're old, you don't have a brain. And I just really hope that the culture has some redemption for Sarah Palin in the same way that we have for so many other women right now.